Welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm your host, Caleb.
Hi, I'm Seth. I talk Star Wars with this man.
So what have we been up to this week? We're just jumping right into it.
So, over, fuck it.
You're good. I can start if you need to.
Just give me a sec.
You need to fix your words. I've been playing Expedition 33.
The most French RPG to French and exist.
Well, it is from ex-Ubisoft employees, so makes sense.
Yep.
Who would have guessed that that employees from a French company would make a French game?
So apparently,
It's very sad though.
Got you an emotional.
Yeah, it's very It's like from the jump, it is trying to be sad. So you play as Charlie Cox's character. So Charlie Cox from Daredevil is the main character.
Okay.
And the premise is you're on this like island starting off.
Yeah.
That's very much based on France. Like they pretty much have the Eiffel Tower there at the start. But it's like this kind of it's that Baroque period of like French Revolution almost era, like design. I like the art design. But every year for the past 67 years, this goddess named the Paintress shows up and basically does a countdown that started at 100. And she'll like repaint the new number. And whoever is that age and older disappears.
Oh, that's a much bigger problem than I thought.
We are hitting year 33. So anybody 33 years or older, which includes your character's ex-girlfriend your character very clearly still had romantic feelings for. So yes, right from the get-go, they are going for the gut punch. Because you get to witness the moment when it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then basically after that happens, and they call it the there's a name for it. The event. Which it's very funny because I looked up, I was like, I'm curious if this means anything in French.
I wonder what the translation of that is.
Yeah. And it means scrub in French, like, if translated. The gamage. And I don't think the translation is on purpose, but I thought it's very funny that it just means scrub. Yeah, the Belle Epoque would be my best. Is like, it's a dark fantasy Belle Epoque setting, which is like that, that described setting that I gave. That's that French Europe, 1871 to 1914 is the. So like that French Revolution to like almost modern. Like that's a big in between, but that is a.
Yeah.
It does have a very specific art style to it. And so so the Paintress shows up. And so after the gamage, every year they will also send out an expedition team to go to the mainland in an attempt to kill the Paintress.
I see.
And so your character is part of the next expedition team, Expedition 33, because they did the expedition counts backwards to match the year number. So
I see.
To match what year, like what number on the countdown it is. Except for the first year. Which they make a point of. If you do like a little, at the beginning you can do a little quiz thing where it's like, what do you know about the setting, essentially? And one of them is
Oh, they give you a fucking litmus test at the start?
you don't have to do it, but it's one you can do for so you can get a coin, so you can get some early things to help you out later.
I see.
Or just fun little character design, like I got a new hairstyle with one of my coins. But one of the questions is like, what was the name of the first expedition team? And you would think, oh, Expedition 100.
1.
Expedition 0.
Oh, great, yeah.
Which then the guy questioning it is like, man, I think it's dumb that was the name. And you're kind of sitting there and you're like, yeah, you're right, that is dumb.
It's a lot closer than 0.
But also, we're never going to see year 0 because, like...
Events of the game, probably.
I mean, also, your character won't live long enough. But... yeah, you get to the mainland as the start of the game, because that's like all the prologue, and then when you get to the mainland, that's Act 1. And so I'm in Act 1, and I'm enjoying it. I like the combat style. It's very Final Fantasy, Persona-esque with the turn-based, so classic Final Fantasy. Or I would say, well, I wouldn't say even the Final Fantasy 13 era, because it looks like that era. But I guess it's more modern Persona, like Persona 5 and all that, where it's actual turn-based. But also you can do some gunfire stuff during your turn, because it's an action point system for your turn. So you have action points that you can use. And for each shot you do in free aim, it uses an action point to do. So you can do shots and get some extra damage by hitting critical spots.
No, that's not what I was laughing.
No, yeah. I feel like that's something, though, that, like, I feel like that's sort of gameplay you wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't mind it if it fucking worked on any of the systems I like.
Yeah, because it's modern. Yeah, it's PS5, PC, and Xbox. But I'm enjoying it. It's a good game. It's very nice supporting a smaller development team, because, I mean, while it's made up of people who have been in the industry, it's a new team. It's from the same publisher that did, because obviously, while it's a new development team, the publisher has been around, and the publisher is the ones who published Sifu.
Okay.
And so, and they've done a lot of indie developers for their publishing. So like Sifu was one. I was looking at the other games. I was like, oh, what other games has this publisher been a part of? And I noticed that a lot of them are like indie developers. It's Kepler Interactive is the publisher. Scorn, another. Yep. That's a game that's Seth coded,
Scorn,
if ever.
Sifu, and now this. All right.
Pacific Drive, I've seen gameplay of. That's one I want to play.
Of course, fucking Scorn is the one that
Pacific Drive is basically it's a sort of story-based game where you're trying to... it's a survival first-person perspective where you're trying to traverse on foot or in your station wagon across Washington State. Hence the name Pacific Drive, because Pacific Northwest. Yeah. So it's one that I've seen gameplay of. It's very interesting. One that I haven't played, but I've seen, Cat Quest 3. But yeah, like all these smaller studio developers, with Claire Obscure being Sandfall Interactive as the developer. This is their first game. They did it in 5 years, I think, is what I heard.
Bad.
And it's like a very small team. I heard it was like 30 people, I want to say.
What I've been hearing as well. Sky's been playing it.
Yeah, it's a good game so far. And it's got a good cast. I mean, you got Charlie Cox, that's a big name. Andy Serkis is in it. I've seen his character, but I haven't heard his voice yet. But I've seen his character because you can tell from the facial model that I'm like, oh, that's Andy Serkis. It's got Shadowheart's voice actress in it as well. Jennifer English. It's also got Ben Starr, who was in Final Fantasy 16 recently. He's also the guy that does a lot of the advertisements for Balatro. He's the jester character that they use. So, a lot of good talent behind this game. So, I would recommend it if you like RPGs, if you like JRPGs especially, because that's definitely what it's trying to take a lot of inspiration from. It's a Western RPG, but it's definitely taking inspiration from JRPGs. And if you like turn-based combat, you know, with a little bit of its own flair to it, it has a parry system.
Mm-hmm.
It also has a perfect parry system where like you can, you could almost not do your own attacks if you're good enough at parries. Like, if you are good enough at parries, you could skip your turns. And because you could damage them, and you know, with the perfect parries. I don't have a full team yet. I've only found one of my companions so far. But I am enjoying it. I know... Oh, and there's a New Game Plus mode I've seen, yeah. So, I'm curious about playing it with New Game Plus and how that would work in a... It says, I guess, attributes. Yeah, all your party members' attributes. Okay. So, because there is a leveling, so stats, yeah. So I guess you would keep your high-level stats, and then you can play it on harder difficult. Because right now I'm playing story mode. No, I'm playing normal. I was going to play story, but I'm playing normal. But I might play a harder difficulty if I finish it and decide to do New Game Plus. But I also know after I finish this game, I also told everybody I would buy Obsidian, or the Obsidian remake.
You would buy Obsidian?
The Obsidian remake. Or Oblivion remake. Oblivion remake. Sorry, my brain is...
It's okay, man. I was having a moment earlier.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know where you're going to get the money to buy Obsidian and then remake it.
Yeah. No, Oblivion remake. Remaster. It's really a remake, though, let's be honest, because Oblivion is called remaster, but let's be honest, it's a remake, because it's not on the same engine. They didn't just go in and go, let's up-res it a little. No, they rebuilt it in Unreal Engine. It's a remake.
The funniest thing, right, is that...
Because that's what I think... Because everybody's like, well, what's the difference between a port, a remake, and a remaster, right? For me, a port is you make no changes other than making it runnable on a different console. That's a port. A remaster is kind of the next level up. It's where you go in and you up-res it, and you make it look... You maybe make some quality of life changes, but you don't change anything about the actual base game. Remake, you're putting it into a new engine, or you're completely building it from the ground up. Obviously, I don't think they built it from the ground up for Oblivion, but they definitely had to remake some of it because it's in a different engine. I would have to ask somebody who knows more about game design. But to me, I would qualify it as a remake. Anyways, you were going to say, though.
Yeah. So... Chris, Sky, and Steve, they've all been going through the Oblivion remake. Fuck, you got me, dude.
It is a remake.
I did.
Yeah, you say
right.
Oblivion, but it is a remake. But it's officially remastered.
Yeah. And they were like, damn. Yep, you know what they didn't succeed in? Making the characters look visually appealing. But that's more of a problem with the game itself rather than like...
Yeah. Because Britt's been playing it, and Britt showed me a NPC, and I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're still ugly as sin.
But I think that's also because...
That's just what...
Even like, no matter what, even if you up-res it, that's a... The characters were modeled that way.
Yep.
So, unless they completely remodel the characters...
We've also been doing movie nights in one of the servers that me and the rest of the boys are in.
Yeah.
And this week, after some finagling and tricking, we, instead of watching Memento, because I've made it a personal mission not to watch that movie.
Do you not like it, or?
No, I don't actually care that much. Really, it's just because Sky's like, you guys have seen this, right? And I'm like, I don't remember seeing it. Which is a very fun thing once he told me the fucking premise of the movie. We didn't watch it this week.
I almost thought that was the joke.
This week instead, I was like, oh man. Because, like, we put in different suggestions each week.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? Let's put the Batman in.
Like, the Batman, Robert Like,
yes.
Okay.
And because Chris is like, man, it's a very long movie.
Yeah, it's almost... Well, okay. So, what, it's like 2.5?
Yeah.
But it feels like a 3-hour movie.
It does.
And it's not because it's bad.
No.
It's the pacing, and it's especially the third act.
Mm-hmm.
I think it feels like it takes... The third act is necessary. I should preface that before I go in on it. The third act is necessary, but the first time you watch it, it doesn't feel like it is, because it feels like the movie should end with when he catches the Riddler.
Yeah.
I feel like it's fine to spoil this. It's a 3-year movie, 3-year-old movie. Yeah.
At this point.
So when he catches the Riddler, you think, oh, this should be the end, but then it goes on for another 30 minutes after that.
Mm-hmm.
And I get why those extra 30 minutes are important, because it's supposed to finish Bruce Wayne's journey into realizing that Batman isn't vengeance, he is hope. Because that's Bruce Wayne's whole journey, is that he's learning what Batman is supposed to be. Because this is Batman year 1, essentially. Well, year 2, because they say he's been around for a year, but
he's been around for 2 years.
Or 2 years, so year 3.
Yeah.
But it's basically a Batman year 1 story.
Mm-hmm.
And which means he's learning what Batman is supposed to mean to people. And in this case, he needs to be an inspiration for the common people, because sure, scaring the criminals, that's an element of Batman, but if he can't inspire the people of Gotham, what good is he?
Yeah.
And so that's what that extra 30 minutes is there for, to get him the rest of that journey there. Because without those extra 30 minutes, he still ends the movie with, I'm just vengeance.
Yeah. And, like, so I'm, like, through some tricking, I was able to, like, get them to watch, and they were like, this is a long movie, and I'm like, it is. However, you stayed awake through it for the most part, Chris, because apparently he, like, had tried watching it before on his own, and he'd fallen asleep, got to the part where the Bat escapes from the GCPD, saw him take a little tumble, and went back to sleep last time. And I was like, alright, so you probably fell asleep because you didn't have anyone watching with you. So we go and we do that, and Sky falls asleep for like 30 minutes during the movie.
I also personally, in terms of like pacing in that film, this might be controversial, but I think the chase scene with the Penguin takes too long.
Really?
I think they could cut it a bit.
Think they could cut it a bit?
Yeah. The car chase scene.
I don't think... It's actually really short, in my opinion.
I don't know. I feel like there's something... There's got to be something in that movie that they can cut on time, but I don't know. Because there's got to be something with the pacing. Because that's what it is.
The funniest bit, right, is that in this one instance, the Penguin hasn't done anything wrong.
No, because he's chasing him from a weapons deal. That's where he's chasing him from. Isn't it the weapons deal?
It's just a drug deal.
Or the drug deal.
But what I mean is, in comparison to all of the other shit that is going on in that movie,
A drug
That's
deal.
like at the bottom of the list.
To be fair, it's a drug deal where a dead body is in one of the cars.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
It's not the Penguin's car, but
No, it's not.
I think the last time I watched that movie was in preparation for the Penguin show.
The fucking best part.
Which that show is really good, by the way.
The best part is that, like, I was explaining, I'm like, there is a certain point when you're just like, I'll give up, man. I'll tell you what you fucking want. And in my opinion, it is the car chase where I'm like, you know what, I give up.
Which that is essentially what he does after the car chase.
He's like, I can't.
Because he flips the car and he's like, you know what? Take me in.
I give up. I'm not dealing with this.
And then he gets to call Batman and Gordon dumb because they don't know basic Spanish.
Yeah.
Also this week I've been playing Fortnite as of yesterday because the new Star Wars season started, and I am having so much fun. I'm already level 15.
Yeah.
That tells you how much I've been playing it, because I do not fly through levels in Fortnite like that usually. Like, I actually already recorded a video for it.
Oh.
Because I did one, like, I recorded a video ahead, and then I'm gonna do one for whenever the new part of the season drops, because you know how it's supposed to be every week, the next chapter in the season. I've been enjoying the flying. Much like Steve, I wish there were more vehicles, because they really show it off in the promo video, and then when you play it, it's like 4 ships total that can be found. Maybe 3, really. Like, I've only really seen like 2 X-Wings and a TIE Fighter spawn in a match. And the TIE Fighter, you have to refuel it and set it up. There probably is one at the First Order base, but just like there's an X-Wing near the Resistance base.
So speaking of the First Order base,
yeah,
that is located at one of the usual drop points that me, Steve, Chris, and Sky use.
Oh no! And now it's like Sweat City over there, probably.
It is Sweat City, and like fucking Vader's also there.
Well, no, Phasma's there. Vader's at the. Vader's at the other.
Vader can spawn there. Yeah.
I didn't know Vader could also spawn there because he spawns at the Samurai Fortress.
Yeah, that's where it is.
No, that's different.
Is it?
Yeah, there's Vader's Samurai Fortress, and then there's the First Order base that's up north in the snow mountains.
Oh, yeah, no, we usually are at the Samurai Fortress. That's where we usually
Oh, okay.
And so...
Which, both First Order base and Samurai Fortress are Sweat City right now, as is the Resistance base.
Yep. I'm going to tell you some stories. So we go and we drop there, right? And... we're running around grabbing shit, and I'm like, hey man, yeah, they got spaceships now. And Steve's like, oh yeah? Alright. I was like, yeah, we'll just go down there and get it. And the good news is, Steve is able to get into the spaceship, right? The bad news is, Steve hasn't flown a TIE fighter before.
Yeah, so the controls are very Battlefront 2, is what I've noticed.
Yeah, it took us a while.
Yeah, you just got to do the left stick for momentum, and then the right stick is your directional.
Yep.
And then you got boost.
Which is cause Steve to like fly around, firing wildly at anything and anyone.
Fair.
Which, you know what? First time flying a TIE fighter, give him a break. We got our asses kicked.
All I can think is...
So badly.
All I'm thinking of with the shooting everywhere and flying just randomly is the first episode of a certain show that we've watched that we haven't talked about yet.
I was thinking more along the, like, Clone Wars episode. Where...
Oh, yeah, when they steal the ship and during the Umbara arc. I see that, too.
Yeah. So, we did not make it very far that round. So, we try again on a different, like... match, right? The good news is this time I get to the ship. The bad news is somebody else also got there. So I end up...
It becomes a fight over the ship.
No, the fucking best part is because of how it worked that they got into the ship, they start flying around. Apparently, you can get 2 people on that thing as long as the other person is on top of the TIE fighter. So the person in the ship is flying around. I'm like, I see the switch seat option, but I'm like kind of looking at the controls and trying to figure it out. I go, oh, well, I'll probably just press this button. It wasn't the right one, which caused me to hop off the side of the fucking TIE fighter and land in the water.
I was flying an X-Wing, and I was shooting a bunch of people.
Yep.
And it was about to get destroyed, so I'm like, oh, I should probably land this and get out. And
yeah.
So I land it on, like, the edge of a mountain, basically like this.
Mm-hmm.
I get out.
How'd momentum go?
Well, I get out, and I get out on this side. And I die.
Oh no.
I tried to slow it by throwing, because I had a, I forget.
Shockwave grenade?
Yeah, a shockwave grenade, so I tried to shockwave, so that way, before I land, hopefully the shockwave blows up and sends me flying and gives me that little bit of momentum to not die, but it was too late.
Another fun story. This time we were like, oh, we'll try and grab one of the X-Wings from, like, the Rebel base, right? Oh boy. No, it didn't work. We grabbed a bunch of shit, but, like, not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone swarmed in, and Steve got killed immediately, right? So then I ran away, and Chris is also there. We're trying to figure stuff out. And I get downed. Chris is like, alright. So we kind of, like, back away from the Rebel base, and he, like, goes and reses me, right? Sorry.
Excuse me.
He doesn't revive me, he just, like, gets me up from down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I know that Chris is more equipped and he tends to last longer than me in matches. So I'm like, alright, I will go back in and grab Steve's reboot card. This'll be a stealth mission. I'm usually good at least getting the objective done. So I go in, I sneak around a bit, and I grab Steve's reboot card, and I guess a fucking team must have seen me, because they sprint around the corner and fucking firing squad me to death. Not like... They, like, did a weird triangle.
Oh, they, like, did a full...
And emptied
like
the clip.
Like, they did a full pincer
they
move
had
on
to
you.
reload. The thing... They did it so fucking fast,
They did
man.
full pincer maneuver.
Yeah.
And you might have faced, like, a pro squad.
Dude,
there.
I don't know what the fuck was going on. I was like, God, what the fuck, man? I did get his reboot card, so it ended up in Chris's inventory.
Yeah.
And he was able to get them out.
Yeah.
So I did succeed at what I was trying to do.
Failed successfully.
Yeah, very much failed successfully.
As you can tell, we've been enjoying the season.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just started, so...
Let's see if we can try and play some later today.
Yeah. Let's get into some news unless you had something else.
I got one more.
One more? Okay.
Yep. So I am no longer helping Sky on his Elden Ring journey.
Yeah. You've been helping Pixie and Zach, I've noticed.
Yes. But with Sky got to the final boss, and he tried and he tried and he tried for like a long time. He was able to start getting into phase 2, but just not enough. And he's like, look, man, I don't have the time or the energy. I cannot keep this up.
So he's just calling it quits for now?
Oh, no. Here's what he did. He is like, you know what would make this boss fight easier? Installing a mod that removes attack collision.
Oh my god.
I was like,
It's not in the spirit of the game, but fair enough.
Yeah. And so he goes and he like fights that way, and I'm like, well, it is your game. You are free to do what you want.
You're not mad, you're just disappointed.
I am disappointed. I'm incredibly disappointed because he. But I'm also like,
yeah, because not every, like, that's the reason.
Not everyone is a fucking lunatic or a masochist.
Like, there's a reason Soulsborne games are very, like, they have a very niche audience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because they are games meant for adults. Kids can enjoy them, but they are meant for an older audience. But also, that older audience doesn't always have time for games of that sort of length and time. And so I understand, like, his point of view, which is like, I just don't have the time to commit to this. It's like, I do want to finish the game, I just don't have the time to commit to it. So, he finished it his way, and that's fair enough.
And, so, after that, we get into talking, and I'm like, so how'd you feel about the game? And he's like, it was exactly as advertised. It's very hard, but you do get to play the way you want. And I was like, yeah, I think one of the problems that you had, right, is because he's running a bleed build. The problem with a bleed build is that, like, the last 3 bosses don't really have blood in them.
Yeah, so they're essentially immune to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He did, like, was like, alright, fire, poise breaks, so critical hits. Like, he learned how to do all that.
But
and he did very well.
He would have had to essentially rebuild if he wanted to.
Yeah. And after that, we get through it, and I spend, like, I'm like, oh, so do you have any questions? And he's like, what does being maidenless mean in this game? And then I have to actually explain what that means in the context of the game.
Yeah, because it's been memed so hard that the context has been lost.
Yeah. I'm like, he's not saying that you have no bitches. He's saying you have no divine assistance.
Basically, the gods aren't helping you.
The gods are not helping you. They're supposed to? And he's like, well, why don't we have, like, our finger maiden? I didn't come up with the names. Look, you can blame Grimm or Miyazaki. One of them is responsible. Probably Grimm.
Is that what your nickname is for George R.R. Martin?
I'm not the only one who uses it.
I have never heard Grimm.
Yeah. J-R-R-M.
G-R-R.
Yeah, Grimm.
Grimm, yeah. I mean, I see where it comes from. I just never heard it.
And so, like, I explained that, and he's like, so what exactly are we fighting about? And I'm like, you are fighting to determine the religious and political structure of the lands between for the next 1,000 years.
Yeah, because there's a god, and then there's a cult going on.
There's a god, there's a cult, there's a state religion, and then there are other gods and cults all vying for control. And you, the protagonist, the tarnished of no renown, you are effectively immortal. And everyone wants you on their side.
It's also very funny how easy it is to fall into the cult track.
In what regard?
In that you don't really, like, unless you are very much, like, paying attention to every little detail, you could just not, you could get confused on the names of groups and be like, oh, this guy's a good guy.
Mm-mm. Here's a pro tip. If they're called, like, Bloody Fingers, they're probably not good.
No, but one of the finger cults isn't, like, called, like, bloody or anything. It's just...
Then there's the Golden Order, which is the previous version.
Anyways, yeah.
I was explaining, like, a bunch of stuff to them. I'm like, he's like, why is Radigan like this? Why was he so goddamn strong? And I'm like, he is literally a god's version of, like, faith in their religious order.
Yeah.
So, that's why. And I explained a bunch of other stuff, but I'm not going to get into that because this is a Star Wars podcast and I've been delaying enough.
You want to talk about some news?
We can. I mean, I guess I can ramble on different subjects, but
we got a little bit, not too much. If you like to collect lightsabers, Star Wars Day, which is tomorrow, they are dropping some new Legacy lightsabers with them giving us Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati sabers as a set.
Oh,
as a Master and Apprentice set. So, I like Baylan's. It's kind of like Kanan's. It's got the little samurai-like thing going with the hilt. That's it on the lightsaber thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you either think that's cool or you don't. I mean, they're expensive. That's the problem. Like, I would collect more of them. They're just so expensive. In book news, though, we have more information about that Force Awakens tie-in novel that we talked about a few weeks ago. It's going to be called The Last Order, and it's going to take place post Rise of Skywalker, which I think makes sense because I've noticed that they're starting to push for content post-sequel trilogy. Because we got that X-Wing movie that's coming out, that's going to be post-sequel trilogy. They're trying to get that Rey movie off the ground that's post-sequel trilogy. Now we got a book coming out post-sequel trilogy. We even have a synopsis, though, for that book. Following the end of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, the Resistance rescues a ship full of young passengers who had been kidnapped by the First Order. As Finn and Jaina set out to find the First Order officer responsible before he can endanger any more children, the two former stormtroopers must wrestle with their own complicated past as soldiers of the oppressive regime. Take a deep dive into the past of popular characters Finn and Jaina in this richly drawn, action-packed story that fans have been asking for. I hope this means we get confirmation of Lando Jaina story, because I hope we get Lando in this, because a lot of people came out of that movie with the idea that Jaina is Lando's daughter. Because the movie 1, Rise of Skywalker 1, tells us why Lando kind of backed off, which is that his daughter was kidnapped as a child. 2, we know that's what the First Order was doing for their stormtroopers. And what they're still doing, even after. And then 3, they have Jaina walk up to Lando as if she's going to tell him that, hey, I'm your daughter. And then they cut away before we get to see that. Because Rise of Skywalker did that a lot, where they don't have our characters say what secrets they have on screen. Like Finn not telling Rey what he wanted to tell her. Which the Lego stuff has now implicated was that he's Force sensitive. Because that's a Lego Star Wars thing that's been implied, but not something that canon has gone through with. Which is really weird that a Lego show implies this thing, and then nothing in canon tells us. Maybe this book will also tell us a little bit about that. But yeah, that book has now been, because I think it was November initially was what it was supposed to come out in. It's now been bumped up to October 21st, so we're getting it sooner rather than later. So, I'm excited, and I know you, as somebody who likes things to go forward,
yes,
is also excited. You're like, oh, sweet, more, and honestly, more Finn love is always good. Finn is a really good character. I like having Finn be a main character in things, so yes, give me more Finn. In comic news, we will be getting our nearly annual Tales From series. This year, it will be Tales from the Nightlands. This will be a 3-issue miniseries starting on September 3rd. So by the time it finishes, it will be done in October-ish, November. Depending on if they're doing bi-monthly or if they keep it monthly.
All right.
So that's our spooky from Dark Horse, because that was from IDW, but now Dark Horse kind of took that on when they got the licensing. So they've been doing the Tales From series, although they were doing them as hardcovers because they did Tales from the Death Star. So I'm surprised they're doing it as a mini-series this time, but hey, I'm not mad at it. And those have also usually been either during the sequel trilogy or near the end of the sequel trilogy is when those have been set for the main story, and then you have the tells.
I see.
Because, you have your spooky story.
Yeah.
Lastly, but most excitingly, Ahsoka Season 2 is now fully in production.
Yeah.
With Rosario Dawson posting an image on Instagram of her shadow as she's in the Ahsoka costume, so you see the Ahsoka silhouette. So, seems things are fully on schedule with that show. Woo! So, that's good to hear, is that something is in production and is ramping up. And
hell yeah.
it's always good to hear when things are actually being done. Which I think puts them on schedule, because they said summer was when they were going to start filming, I think they said, for that, when we talked about it during Celebration Week.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is also about the time that the X-Wing movie is being worked on. The Starfighter movie is being worked on. I keep saying X-Wing, but even though it's Starfighter, it's an X-Wing movie, but it's probably going to have other Starfighter ships. So that's why it's called Starfighter. But, yeah.
No, it's going to be people punching stars.
But no, the Starfighter movie is also supposed to be in production and pretty soon, too. Because they said they're done with, the scripting and everything. It's just filming now. Coming up. So, yay! Bunch of stuff moving forward. Any thoughts on any of that I...
It will be nice to progress the Ahsoka story.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati have for us coming up.
Yep. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh,
What is Baylan doing? What is the Hound doing?
Your goal?
Baylan just calling people the C word.
He completely everything else is the same.
It's just now there's more C word being dropped.
Yeah. Oh god.
They had to bump the rating for Ahsoka up to TVMA. That was in Rory's contract when they hired him. Rory's like, I'll do everything right. I'll do it exactly as you want, but I need more cursing.
He just, for whatever reason, he just is looking at Thrawn and is like,
you fucking... Thrawn's like, I'm on the other side of the galaxy and you're calling me this?
Yes. How's the art looking?
Correction, not on the other side of the galaxy, in a different galaxy. Because once again, the Ahsoka series, I think the biggest thing they dropped is that we have now been in a different galaxy.
Yep.
I think that's a thing that everybody forgets that Ahsoka did.
Yeah.
Because nobody makes a big deal out of it. It's a big deal. I think that's a pretty big deal.
You're over here, you're screaming, we are off the map. This doesn't take place in a place we know.
Not even the unknown regions is still in the same galaxy. We are past that. We are past the unknown regions. That's the crazy part.
No, I was about to say, it's really stupid to put a part on the map labeled as the unknown regions.
Well, it's because it's not explored.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because they also have because there's the Outer Rim, which you would think would be considered the unknown region, but then there's the unknown regions.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's wild space, which is also
another thing you would think
about. And it's like, who the fuck is labeling this?
And a lot of these names are pre, the buyout, so you can't even be like, oh, this is Disney's fault. No.
No.
Yeah, because you got the core, the colonies, the inner rim, the expansion region, the mid rim, the outer rim, the unknown regions. And then I think wild space is part of the outer rim, usually. It's not on this particular map that we're looking at, but
Because, like, anytime, right, I think of wild space, my brain's like, oh, it's that part that's not on the map.
let's see. Wild space. Thanks for not showing me where wild space is. Cool.
Sorry, we're looking at...
I'm looking at Wikipedia, and it is
I
not.
was reading the very first thing.
Oh yeah, where it's in contrast to the unknown
It was
regions.
located, quote, off the edge of the map and almost fully unmapped.
So I guess it's part of the. It's not mapped. It's that wild space is unmapped, so it's not even like the unknown regions where we have some things mapped. It's just off the map.
Yeah.
So it's like anytime we got to go somewhere that's not on the map, that's wild space.
Yeah.
Except for in Ahsoka, where now we're in a different galaxy.
Yeah, where I'm like, that... I'm like... I'm over here, like, bang... If I was a scholar in Star Wars, right, I would be banging my head on the desk in frustration.
Also, how do we not have?
I'm like,
Do we not have a name for this galaxy? Also, by the way, that's the other crazy thing. There's no name for it.
Yeah.
Like, so it's really weird because I have to be like the other galaxy whenever I talk about Ahsoka, because in the real world we have names for our like solar system.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, because there's solar system. Well, we don't have a name for our galaxy, I guess. So no, that fits, I guess. Weird.
Yeah. But we have names for other galaxies.
Yeah, just not ours.
Yeah. Yeah, ours is just...
Oh, no, the Milky Way, yeah. So we do have a name for our galaxy.
And there's Andromeda.
Yeah.
But God forbid we have another one fucking Star Wars. But then again, like once...
But that also makes it easier for you to just imagine that it's within our universe, just in a different galaxy that we haven't named. Or some people even say it's the Andromeda Galaxy because the Andromeda Galaxy is far away.
Yeah.
Because they go in a galaxy far, far away. The Andromeda is far, far away. We just don't,
Yep.
So, I mean, it could be theoretically the Andromeda Galaxy. It's just, although Mass Effect has kind of been like, nah, Andromeda is this galaxy. We have an Andromeda Galaxy in Mass Effect. But Star Wars is like, we're not going to name things. We're good.
Why? Fuck you, that's why. We don't have to name a damn thing.
Yeah, it's just the galaxy. Yeah, it's the galaxy. According to Wikipedia, it is just the galaxy. Crazy. And then I forget the name of the planet in Ahsoka. Because there's a name for that planet that they go to. I'm trying to remember. It's been a minute because I haven't watched it for a while. I just pick an episode where they're actually there. But yeah, I'm curious to see what we do with that. But also, how are people not reacting to these things the same way as I am? Because like there are so many things where I'm like, this is wild. Why are we not talking about this? Yeah, it's just called the Far Galaxy in on Wikipedia. So we got the galaxy and then the Far Galaxy. So. What we're working
I guess
with.
there is a slight distinction.
Yeah, that's what we're working with.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for news.
Yeah.
You ready to jump into our main topics today, which are The Edge of Balance, Premonition, and Volume 4?
Yeah. So I think I might have read these in the wrong order.
Did you read Volume 4 first?
Yeah.
I even told you read Premonition first.
Yeah, well, I didn't.
So you were like, You read volume 4 and you're like, man, I wonder where Yoda went. And then Premonition's like, here's what Yoda was up to.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's I'm just in a moment of like, the thing is, right, I read that message too and completely ignored it, just like a real moment of, that sign can't stop me, I can't read. Except the problem is I fucking
All you did was read.
All I did was read.
Oh man. So we'll start with Premonition,
Yeah.
because that happened first. Yoda goes through it.
Yep.
But also, I think we're getting closer and closer to the solution to the nameless problem. Because they finally call back to Buryaga being like, yeah, you just got to think happy thoughts, essentially.
Yeah. He's like,
You just got to be empathetic.
mm-hmm.
Be a Jedi. And Yoda's like, oh yeah.
That's an option, I forgot. I'm getting a little old.
Also, both of these have to take place before our last
Yes.
subject, Into the Light, because of the fact that,
The Drengir.
well, the Drengir are active still on Banshee. They're also still on Irem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Progenitor's still on Irem. Yeah. And then also, Aslan and Reeth are still here.
Yeah. So, like, I was very
So
much...
these have to take place before Into the Light, and
Yeah.
also even before the audio dramas
Yep.
that or audiobooks that we've been listening to. So, that kind of gives us the placement of everything. Which also, this is more volume 4, but I think fits into Premonition because it's Yoda kind of looking over the history of, like, the Nameless as he tries to save this family that are kidnapped by them. Aslan is continuing his, like, redemption arc throughout these volumes.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll get more into that when we talk volume 4.
Yeah.
But Premonition, we get some sad moments, because we get some, hey, remember this character who died?
Yeah.
Remember this character who died? Oh yeah, and then this character who died.
Yep. I was like, damn, you're fucking really just gonna bring them all out, ain't you?
Specifically, ones who died to the Nameless.
Yeah.
Because they brought up Loden, they brought up, there was one I was thinking of in particular.
Well, the big name here for Yoda's is Kevmo Zink.
Yes, Kevmo. That was the one I was thinking of.
I was like,
Because I don't think they ever realized that's what happened to Kevmo.
Yeah.
Because I think they never figured that out.
Yeah.
They knew he died, and they knew it had to do with the path and stuff going on there. And they knew the Nameless were involved with the path.
But never what exactly went down.
Yeah, like they never realized, oh, the Nameless killed Kevmo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that, they never were able to put that puzzle
And, like,
together.
That it didn't quite hurt me, but I'm like, oh yeah,
That was just a gut punch that was like, you weren't too affected by it, but it still hurt.
yeah. I was like, you know what? Maybe there's a timeline somewhere in a nicer galaxy
where Kevmo and Marta got to go.
Marta got to go and be happy.
They like lived on a farm.
Yeah, I really hope that.
There's an AU out there somewhere.
I want that.
You know there's a fan fiction somebody wrote for that.
There definitely is. I would like that. It's not what we have for the main timeline. But I am glad that Yoda at least knows now that someone does.
Yeah.
I mean, Aslan knows, but he's fucking crazy, so
Yeah.
he's getting better.
He's crazy, but he's getting better.
Which is a wild statement. Don't worry, this is my friend James. He's fucking nuts, but we're working on it. We're working on it could be the title of Aslan and Elzar. We're working on it.
That's their biography.
That's their
They wrote a biography together.
for some reason.
But no, I really like the premonition. It's really short. It's so short. It's basically just Yoda going on a rescue mission and then fighting one of the ex-children of the Force because for some reason one of them was like, I don't want to be a child of the Force, and so, or child of the Storm rather. Yeah. An ex-children of the Storm who's like, I don't want to be a child of the Storm. And so Markion's like, okay, fine, but you still work for me. And
he's like, alright.
Yeah. It's alright. I'll kill some Jedi.
Yeah. And he's like, also, I will be assigning you a nameless. Yeah.
But I have the full... Okay.
Alright. I guess. And he's like, just so you know, if you fuck this up, it will eat you.
Though... While dumb on the surface, what he does is actually kind of genius. Yeah. Which is use the nameless on himself to get Force-sensitive beings to sense his pain to go out looking for him so then he can trap them. Mm-hmm. That's actually
really smart. So this guy knows he's not going to be able to take like a Jedi on in a fight, so he just like use the namelesses.
Yeah, he basically
the nameless.
Yeah,
the
nameless as there
as
you go
a trap.
Yeah, because it's basically he's basically setting booby traps.
Yeah, and that's all he does.
And then he's also like putting them into the Jedi scenarios of you either got to kill me or rescue them.
Yep. And in addition, there are Nihil running around, and Yoda's like, fuck.
And then
I'm trying really hard not to kill these guys.
I was going to say, like,
they're making it really hard for me.
He doesn't want to kill anybody because Jedi, but also, why you got to make it so difficult? Eventually, unfortunately, that particular child of the Storm does die, which...
He does give the nameless a cool new title name. The Teeth That Walk.
Yeah! I also really like the realization Yoda comes to. It's that the nameless is actually not bad.
Yeah.
It just wants to go home.
It's like... God, dude, I'm fucking hungry all the time, man.
Because, like, we learned that, like, because Yoda actually, like, does empathy with it, because he's like, oh, that's my lesson, be empathetic to it. And then he's empathetic to it, and he actually communicates with it.
Yeah.
For a little bit. And we don't actually learn specifically what the nameless communicates to Yoda, but we can extrapolate a little bit based off of the visions, which is that it wants to go home, essentially.
Yeah.
It does not want to kill these like, it's not trying to kill these people. It's just eating.
Yeah. It's just what it does. It's like being mad at a fucking tiger for eating a rabbit. That's not... I mean, you can be mad about that, but that's just part of how it works.
And it's because the Path and Markion have taken the nameless from their like environment.
Yeah.
They've made them a invasive species unwillingly. And now they're like, well, I need to survive and eat still.
So, you know...
On my home planet, there would be plenty to eat and do without hurting anybody.
And we also have predators on our home planet.
That balance us out, yeah.
But in the wider galaxy, we don't have any of that.
Yeah. So, and it does want to go home. From what we can extrapolate, like from what we see, because we see it show Yoda it's home.
Yeah. I think Yoda explicitly asks, like... What do you want, man?
And then it shows it home.
It's like, oh, okay, I get it.
And so it's like, and then Yoda's like, all right, I'll tell everybody. Yep. And it's just like, okay, so this is, now you gotta make me feel bad for the nameless? Okay.
I don't feel bad, but I get it.
I kind of feel bad for the nameless, because the nameless is just, it's like a wolf that you brought home, and then you get mad that it ate your pet cat.
Yeah.
You're like, it's not a trained dog.
Yeah, it's not gonna do that.
It's just gonna eat your cat and then be like, well, what'd you expect? And then it bites your arm. as well.
I think, like, the thing for me, right, is that, like I said earlier, I'm not mad at the Nameless for doing what it does.
Because it's just nature.
Yeah. I'm very upset that it happened, despite my flat vocal tone for that sentence.
Yeah.
So that kind of...
No, there was a little bit of you raising your voice there.
So like, there's a weird emotional disconnect where I'm like, just objective, like, we have to take it home. Unfortunately, every other time, like, some shit like this has happened, people have died.
Yeah. Like, it's a case of, damn, I wish the Jedi weren't dying, but also this thing needs to go home. But also it kills the Jedi.
Yeah. And, like, it's brought up later in this book, in
Volume 4,
where I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. These stupid Jedi forget there are other people that can do stuff.
Which is, you know, and I think that's also...
And I get on my Jedi hate.
I think that's a theme for the High Republic as a whole, though, in that it's not just up to the Jedi to save the day.
Yeah.
It is up to the Republic as a whole to work together if they're going to beat this Nihil threat.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Nihil are really good at defeating the Jedi. They actually are really good at that.
Yeah.
They've almost perfected it.
Yeah.
Honestly, better than the Sith have.
Yeah. Because they lack some of the key weaknesses of the Sith.
Yeah. And so... And the Nihil are also really good at attacking on multiple fronts.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when you have a villain like that, you need the good guys to get their shit together and work as a group rather than individually. And unfortunately, the reason that the Republic is losing right now is because, yes, that's exactly what they're doing. They're working as individuals. They're not working as a whole. And it's something, and we can talk about Volume 4, because that's basically it for Premonition.
However, I will say this. Markion wrote, does do a very fun thing of shit-talking Yoda over the phone. He's got him on video call, and he's watching, and he's like, hey, you know I can't see you when you're hiding there. Yeah.
And Yoda's like, I'm still alive, don't worry.
Don't worry.
Because Markion wants to watch Yoda get defeated.
Yeah. He goes, this is before Yoda figures out, like, remembers what Buryaga did. He's like, so what are the last thoughts of Markion asks Yoda, what are the last thoughts of a Jedi Master before he turns to dust? And Yoda answers, Wookiees, apparently. And Rose like, I didn't expect that for an answer. And Yoda's like, well, neither did I. In my opinion, it's like, it's not that Yoda isn't scared, it's that he's too confused as to why his brain is jumping to Wookiees.
But it's because it's jumping to Buryaga.
Yeah.
And so it eventually makes the logical jump. And so, yeah. But yeah, Volume 4...
Premonitions was fun.
Yeah, Premonitions... It's a good little in-between chapter to kind of give us a lot of momentum that we need to get to Volume 4. Because I think you have to consume all 6... Because while this is Volume 4, there's 6 volumes of Edge of Balance in reality.
Yeah.
You have to consume all 6 in order to get the full story. And you do have to consume them in order. So it's 1, 2, Precedent, 3, Premonition, 4.
Yeah.
And that's how you get the whole context of the Edge of Balance story. And honestly, the Edge of Balance story is a really good story.
Yeah.
I legit would watch this as an anime.
It would be a good one, too.
I would... Lucasfilm Animation, get on it. Get one of the Japanese studios that's doing Visions, get one of them, and go, hey, we're going to adapt this into a show. Because it would be good. It would be so good. You would cry during Volume 2 being... when it's being remade into episodes, because that's when a certain death happens.
Mm-hmm.
Although, that character who does that kill gets actually a pretty good redemption arc. I'm surprised. Because that Nihil character gets a redemptive arc.
It may...
Because you forget that that's the one who killed... Remember?
No, I didn't.
That's the one who killed him.
Oh, no. It is one of...
It's surprising he got a redemptive arc, but he got one.
The thing is...
But also, it's been so long since we read Volume 2.
Yeah. I was like... You remember, we did the math. We've done 154 episodes. We've been doing this for basically 3 years.
Yeah. And that was like year 1.
Yeah. So you'll have to forget. A lot has fucking happened.
But yeah, Lily's former apprentice died during that, yeah. But a lot of characters are getting redemption arcs, and it's really, I mean, that it makes sense because that's a key theme in Star Wars. Redemption is a key theme in Star Wars. You take out redemption, it's kind of not Star Wars anymore. And so Aslan's getting his redemption with how he's interacting with the children, with Nima and Vivnia.
Yeah.
And I like how that interaction.
Yeah.
Because I like the thing that Aslan notices, which is they are innocent, so they view it's something that him and Reith kind of Reith kind of finishes that note, and it's that they only see the current.
They don't see the
past.
Yeah.
Which is such a genuine way that children look at things. And it's also why there's that innocence. Because children, they do hold grudges, but not the same level as an adult. Like, it's usually because if a child holds a grudge, it's because something you did then.
Yep.
And usually, then that grudge usually dies out within, like, a few hours, depending on how bad it is.
Maybe a week tops.
But adults tend to hold things longer.
Yeah.
And so you would think that because they're Jedi, they would also sense this evil darkness within Aslan. But the fact that they don't tells me that there isn't this inherent evilness to Aslan that Reith and Yoda and everybody else call out. Because they're always like, oh, he's steeped in the dark side. But if that were true, these two, they would notice it too. Because it's just because the children in Star Wars, the younglings in Star Wars tend to notice that. Yeah. Like, that is something that they tend to be able to tell light and dark pretty easily. So, the fact that they don't tells me Aslan is not this obviously evil character that Reith and all the other adult characters claim he is. Yes, has he done evil acts? Yes. Like, he blew up a fucking city. We saw that. That's there's no middle ground.
This is a pretty bad thing to do.
We saw that, and that is a present thing that he did, because that's a more recent event. Because that was the start of Phase 3 of the High Republic. Oh. So, but he's also been, especially his time on Banshee, he's been really redeeming himself. And so, because he had his, in Volume 3, he had his moment with Arkoff, which was, that was a very much needed conversation. And then here he actually almost overcomes his fear of the Nameless. Yeah. I say almost because he does hesitate still. Like, it's not to the point where it doesn't bother him. It still bothers him. But he did overcome it enough to save Vivnia. Because, I guess we should explain the story that happened.
Also didn't explodify the Nameless in front of Vivnia.
Yeah.
Which is apparently what he did last time. In a much more grotesque sense.
Yeah.
good news is that because it's a manga, they can get away with, and it's not in color.
Yeah, it's black and white.
Yeah,
It's very beautiful art, though.
it is.
I think that's another.
I like the interaction in this between spoilers, because that's just what we do.
Yeah.
I like the interaction between Baron Bulin and
As
Aslan.
I was gonna get to it, I wanted to explain kind of the plot first, so that way we could get to it. Because we are skipping so much in volume 4. Because while it's short, still there's a lot that happens.
Meanwhile, Lily is still a bit upset that her apprentice died.
Well, she's also dealing with the fact that she's the leader here of this town, and also trying to deal with how do we work with the Drengir.
Yeah.
Also,
Lily's got a lot on her plate.
Also, Shosho is off trying to save. Forgetting name of creature. The creature from that they introduced in Volume 3.
Damn it.
Zemtok.
Zimtok,
Yeah, which I like Zemtok.
which is like a badger.
That's force sensitive.
Yep.
Which is why Shosho has to save them.
We encounter like one of my most dispassionate Jedi, Sav Maligan.
Yeah,
Sorry, they're not dispassionate. I'm
dispassionate about them. Yeah.
Although they do have some very funny moments.
And we get everybody's favorite character back, Dexter Jetster.
Mm-hmm.
Although there's a misprint. It's Jetster, and for some reason in here, I'm pretty sure it's Jetster. But maybe I'm... Because I'm pretty sure it's Dexter Jetster. Yeah. Yeah, there was a misprint. It's for some reason they dropped the extra T.
I think my brain auto-corrected it, so I didn't notice.
Yeah. But yeah,
Maybe he just added a T so that later on in life, so they didn't have to.
Oh yeah, he had to go into witness protection because of
Yeah.
all his pirating days.
Yep. See, different. Says I'm different on the driver's license.
We have the same mustache, we have the same forearms and everything, but look at that last name.
He's like a cousin.
Yeah, look at that last name. It's different.
Yeah, Lily's over here like, I got 4 things going on, and like the people.
Also, Yoda's missing now.
Yoda's missing, because I guess I just keep getting problems.
But at least I got the kids here, because Viv and showed up, and she's like, all right, go with the regular people in town and stay inside the temple, because Niv Drendal is now turning the ship around, because... Which actually makes Shosho's rescue mission so easy, by the way.
Yep.
Shosho's like, all right, I got Nim Talk out of the cell. Let's go. And then here's a phone call between Baron Bulin and Niv Drendal that's like, oh, we got to go back because Baron Bulin wants all those Jedi that's on the planet.
Yep, and he was like, hey, can I get some more supplies for my research? And Baron Bulin's like, who do you think you are?
Niv Drendal.
And they're like, oh yeah, and the Nihil are like, hey, boss, and he's like, you will use my goddamn name.
Sorry, Niv. No, Niv Drendal. Why is it so hard to say my full first name? Because your full first name is 2 words, sir.
No one says that because they're Nihil and they're not going to bother with it. I'm surprised.
The fact that he is allowed to get mad at Bulin and get away with it, too.
Yeah.
Because Bulin even is only calling him Niv, and he's like, it's Niv Drendal. He's like, whatever. And he's like, well, fuck you too, boss.
Yeah. This one,
It's essentially the conversation they have.
it's very comedic. This one actually, in regards to how the Nihil operate.
But also, it's because the Nihil are this disorganized. That's the part that like is crazy about. It goes back to why they're winning. It's because it has nothing to do with how organized they are. It's because they're really good at attacking on multiple fronts because they're a pirate gang, and then because the other side is bad at organizing as a group.
Yep.
It
actually does come up in this book that in this book. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a book.
And so, like, later on during kind of the battle for Banshee, because God forbid we never have something going wrong on Banshee.
Yeah, God forbid Banshee goes a year without anything happening.
Yeah. Lily is, like, on her own fighting, and she's like, damn it all, how many more of you are there?
And also at this point, that's when, like, Baron Bullen showing up, when the Nameless is showing up and is about to fuck up everything.
She's like, why God do you keep sending me your strongest battles?
Because you're my strongest warrior.
She's like, can I have a nap, please?
Yeah. But also, like,
the Drengir, of all people, are like, well, we're not going to help you, but the plant life on this planet will. And it's like, what does that mean? Turns out they were very literal.
Yeah. Well, and also, like, the Drengir are like, we gotta leave this place.
Yeah, there's a thing coming that we don't want to be here for.
Yeah. And then, like, I also love the interactions between Macton and everybody, like Arkoff and Sav. And Macton's like, I'm the best pilot there is, and Sav's like, okay, enough with the...
Yeah.
Like, Arkoff is the first to say it, and so Sav translates for him and is like, he said stop with the bragging.
Yep.
And then Macton does the call to the Nihil and is like, hey, I got separated from my storm.
They're like, you were reported dead.
Oh! Hangs up.
Why did you do that?
'Cause I panicked.
That makes it more suspicious.
Scav droids.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And then, of course, Macton joining the pirate gang with Dexter at the end. And so, but Macton does a full redemptive arc, yo, because like he throws himself at the Nameless, like fulls on body slams into it.
I'm not force sensitive, so this will do nothing.
Boom! Superman body slams into it, like he's in the WWE or something.
I would have found it very funny if he tried to, like, fucking clothesline.
But also that gives the whole, like, for later on when the rest of the town show up and they're like,
you know what?
Why are you keeping us in the Jedi Temple? You know we can help.
Yeah, we're not affected by it. As a matter of fact, we're just gonna shoot it.
It's like, also, we can fight the Nameless. We have guns.
Yeah. You're not pirate Jedi Sav brought them last time.
Yeah, so, like, I get you want to protect us, but we can protect you as well.
Yeah, especially considering you're almost lying on the ground.
I think that's the lesson for Lily, is she's taking on too much with, because as a leader you have to be able to delegate, and that's a thing Lily is just bad at.
Yeah.
In the entire run of Edge of Balance, like from Volume 1, from the jump, she just cannot delegate. And it's something Arkoff keeps trying to teach her.
Yep.
Arkoff's like, listen, sometimes you gotta tell other people to do things for you.
Yeah. Oh, God. So, this has nothing to do with Star Wars. I will add that caveat, so if you don't care about that, you ain't gotta listen. But I remember, like, we were talking about, I was like, oh yeah, Boone doesn't send, like, Tanachi and Humi out a lot.
His Grim Hollow D&D character.
Hi, I play Boone, the leader of the group, for the most part. I let people do, but occasionally, when a decision has to be made about who goes where and does what, I have to pick who gets to go there, when Boone does, and by extension that means me. And I was like, you know what we don't see Tanachi and Humi get usually put on the same assignments. And I was thinking, like, about it. I was talking with, like, I talked with Andrew and Chris about it, but at different points, and I'm like, that would be comedic if we did. Like, in regards to one of the circumstances soon that I don't want to spoil because that video hasn't been made yet.
Yeah.
But I was like, if it goes anything like the last time Boone told Tanachi to do something, which was interrogate someone,
Yep.
then it's not going to work out. And also, Tanachi doesn't talk, whereas Humi, while Humi does talk, he's very much, God, what's the word?
He is the charismatic, like,
Yeah.
because he's a paladin build, so yeah, he's gonna naturally.
I was like, well, they'd either really do well, or a fight would start immediately.
Yeah. But yeah,
But back to the book.
Yeah, but going back, because now that brings us to Baron Bulin trying to kidnap the children.
Yes.
And so Aslan gets
Intercedes.
shaken up a bit first.
Yeah.
Because Baron Bulin's like, we're the same, you and I. He does the villain, we're the same speech.
Yeah. And Aslan's like, no.
And then
not.
snaps bro's ankle.
Like, out of spite, fuck you.
Like the manga says snap,
Yeah.
and it's looking at his ankle. So he doesn't just trip this man; he broke his ankle.
It's like, you know what? Out of spite.
Well, also you're kidnapping a child.
Yeah.
So that's Vivnia that he's taking. So
Also,
also the fact that Aslan doesn't know this child's name.
Yeah.
Yet still saves her.
Yep.
Because he just says child.
He doesn't know Vivnia or Nima's name either. He just goes child to both of them.
It's the. This is stepping away from Star Wars a little bit, but it's the Lord of the Rings. Frodo doesn't know Legolas's name.
He just calls him Elf.
No,
they don't even
he doesn't even say that. He just goes at the end of Return of the King. You know, that discussion of like,
he's like, you were there, I should know who you are.
you even said your name during the fellowship, but it's been
A lot of shit has happened.
It's been too long, so it's now awkward if I ask.
Yep.
Like, we've saved the day, we've just saved the world. I think it's really awkward if I ask your name now. So I'm just like, you. Yeah.
It very much like from Aslan to Baron Bulin. We're the same, you and I. Oh yeah? Can you do this?
But yeah, like, it almost shakes him up, because, like, they are foils.
Mm-hmm.
I can agree with that as the... Because
the difference is, as the Baron is getting crazier, Aslan is slowly returning to a sane state.
Yeah. And so, like... Well, and also, one is trying to defeat the Nameless. The other is trying to recreate the process.
Yeah, and enhance it.
And so... It's very... yeah, they are meant to be narrative foils. Which is usually when a villain gives we're the same speech. It's usually because the villain and the hero are supposed to be narrative foils. And you as an audience member are supposed to have already clicked in on that before that speech happens. But that speech is just a...
They also oppose each other in another way. Bulin is science and Aslan is magic.
Which adds to that, yeah. So it's very... And, you know, that's what makes them foils rather than the same.
Yep.
Usually the villain misinterprets foiling, though, as the same. That's why it's such a trope for the villain to give that speech.
Yep.
It's because the villain never gets that... The villain never notices the difference. They think, oh, we're the same enough that I can get you on my side. Because we're the same, you and I.
Yep.
Although 9 times out of 10 they don't actually say it that way, but there's enough of them that have said it that way that's why the trope exists. I like that trope. I know a lot of people don't.
It's fine. Like most tropes, when it's done well, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
They are tools. They're not bad.
And I think here it's done well enough.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not overplayed. It's a very quick moment, and it's a moment that Aslan quickly rejects.
Like, I read both of these in, like, a day.
Yeah, because they're short enough that you could just sit down and finish them in an afternoon. Honestly, you could read all 6 volumes in a day. Like, all 6 volumes of Edge of Balance. You could. It's almost like if you put them together, they're an actual novel at that point. Here, I mean, because that's the thing with manga volumes, they're almost more like chapters in a book rather than the book itself.
And, like, I enjoyed this. That's what I'll say.
I enjoyed the entire Edge of Balance series. This is a bittersweet, oh, it's over moment where it's like, oh, I could have enjoyed more of this, but also it ends on a really good high note, which is that Lily kind of figures out her place on Banshee.
Yeah.
Which is, yes, as a leader, but also delegating and having a sense of community with the people on Banshee. And I think it's a real... And there's even some throwback to her apprentice, because we see a little bit of that, and so being a part of her reflecting at the end. And so I liked it. It's really good. Thank you, Daniel Jose Older, as usual.
Yeah.
You're great, as well as Shima Shinya, and the art from Mizuki Sakakibara, yeah, which was beautiful. The art for all of it. It's if you are a High Republic fan, you are missing out on some premium content, in my opinion, if you are skipping Edge of Balance.
Don't do it. I know that it's very, like,
you're like, oh, yeah, you're like, yeah,
story.
you're like, oh, this is the secondary material. I don't have to read this. You don't, but it's such good content that I feel like you're missing out on some great artwork,
also,
some great storytelling.
Nice break from all the other shit that's going on.
Yeah, like
in a much lighter form.
While Volume 2 does have its downer moment.
Yeah.
It's
of like,
a character dies.
A character does die. And it is because a Jedi Jedis, even when an older, more experienced Jedi is like, now is not the time, man.
Yeah. But it's one of very few deaths in this run. I think it's the only... I want to say it's the only, like, main character death.
Yeah.
Like, named main character death. Like, there might be some background Banshians who die, but outside of that... And, like, there's some really cute not animal, because they're sentient, but cute alien species character designs with the actual, like, the Banshians, not the people like, not the human Banshians, but the actual Banshians.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Zemtok is also a really cute design.
Yeah.
It's
a badger with 3 eyes and, like, a little flower crown.
Yeah. Like,
it's hard to hate on that design.
and
if you do, there might be something wrong with
it. And
the
the actual Banshians are, like, tiny bird.
They're like tiny flightless bird.
Yeah. That use forks as weapons. Yep. And Shosho is one of the main ones, and rides Zemtok like a horse into battle in Volume 3. Like, it's hard to hate this run.
It's even kind of hard to hate, like, the Nihil, because, like...
They're goofy, but they're still a threat.
Yeah.
Because Markion shows up, and he's still a threat, but they definitely lightened it up.
Yeah.
I would say where, like, the adult novels are almost hitting the rated R, like, they're hitting the hard PG-13.
Like, oh, boy.
It's, like, hard PG-13. It's not R, but it's, like, tipping.
If they took one more step...
Whereas Edge of Balance, I'd say, is like a lighter PG, light PG-13. Like, it's that lighter end of it. Of that same rating, but on the lighter scale. Because there are differences in that, like, if you were to do a rating system. PG-13 is a pretty big scale. Which is why PG-13 alone had to be made, because they were like... Man, there's a big gap between PG and R.
Yep.
and then like Gremlins and Temple of Doom came out, and they were like, we need something in the middle here.
Yeah.
We need something that's like not R but not PG. And then even that scale is kind of a big scale. Like PG-13 alone could cover a lot of things. Because it could be something as nice as this and something as dark as Into the Light. Which is also on the lighter end of the novels, too, but it's still further than Edge of Balance.
Yeah, but then we get, like, fucking the Battle of Dalna.
Yeah. I would give Edge of Balance, honestly, I feel very confident in just giving these 9s.
I agree, actually. I'm not...
Like, I am not hesitant
normally
whatsoever.
Normally there'd be, like, a caveat or something, but no, just a 9.
I think this whole... And then, like, if I were to put all 6 volumes together, I'd almost give it a 10.
As a series, yeah, I'll give it that.
Like, as a series, like, if I were to just say Edge of Balance as a whole, it's almost a perfect series. Which is, once again, why I would love to see this animated. Like, this is rife for just plucking into animation. And it wouldn't be that out there to do it. It's a manga, and manga often get translated into anime. You know someone at Lucasfilm is thinking about it.
They're like, God damn it, if only I could get approval.
You know...
They're shaking in the background.
You know someone is thinking about it and is like, Lucasfilm, just do it. Do it. It's a way to get the High Republic to a wider audience, because The Acolyte was an attempt, and it wasn't as good of an attempt. While I like The Acolyte, there are a lot of failings to that show.
Yeah.
And so it didn't work as a intro to the High Republic, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because it's the end of the High Republic.
Yeah.
That
Look, I know storytelling, plot time in Star Wars is a little wonky sometimes.
And I understand why they don't want to just adapt the novels. I understand that. I would have preferred that, but I understand why that's what they're not doing. Because Star Wars in general doesn't just adapt novels. It's just not what they do.
Imagine if they did, though, in the first time someone saw what a Nameless did to a Jedi.
Which is why Edge of Balance would be perfect, because we get to see that. You get to see that. So, and I think this is also light enough that it's you could have it for a wider audience. It would be like a Clone Wars age group.
Yeah.
It's not a Young Jedi Adventures age demographic. It's a little older that can watch this. But it's not so mature that it ages out anybody, but it's also not so immature that an older audience can't appreciate it.
Yeah.
So it's like that perfect balance. And so just make this into a show. Somebody at Lucasfilm, somebody at Star Wars, get on it. Like I said, get one of the companies that you're working with Visions, because I bet you could talk one of them into doing it. And I'm sure they've got the connections, because this is Viz Media, who publish so many like modern manga. So you have the resources to get in touch with the right studios to get this to happen. This is my TikTok clip for next week.
Oh, that's
okay. Yeah. We're gonna push for this to happen. I want this.
So that you've been adding more from the podcast recently.
Yeah, I've been. And so that,
but hey,
do
it.
But that's it for our Edge of Balance talk,
yes.
I think. But yeah, I've been a little behind the scenes. I've been testing the algorithm a little bit, because usually I do one TikTok a day, but I've been lately. One, I have an editing software that lets me find the clips a little bit easier. But two, I want to start doing 3 a day. Because that's like the suggested if you want good traffic on your... For like TikTok and shorts in general, you generally want to do 3, but no more than 3. Yep. Once you hit past that, then you start to...
decline?
Yeah, you don't really see...
The returns start diminishing.
diminishing returns on investment there. And so... I'm playing around, seeing what happens when I do that, and it's kind of working. It's working. I mean, we're getting a lot of interaction. I've noticed in terms of like at least people liking the videos.
Oh,
But yeah,
speaking of TikTok and lighter subjects,
yeah.
apparently, man, I should not have brought up guard counters on Zach and Pixie's stream, because holy shit, did
Yeah,
they
you know.
TikTok get onto their ass for
You
the
know,
difference.
but also on YouTube apparently. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
that's just a fandom problem
Yeah,
though. That's
like-
a thing Star Wars knows about is
I'm like,
the
man.
fandom is usually the problem.
I'm like, man, I should have just not said anything. If I hadn't said anything, they wouldn't be in this position.
But yeah, because Soulsborne is also a
It's also
specific
got-
level of toxic.
Yeah,
It's the same level as Star Wars, just about.
yeah.
It's that. Except Soulsborne, I feel like is even more basement dwelling than even Star Wars.
It can be at times.
But no, hearing Zach last night.
Oh yeah, I think at a certain point, like during his rant, right? Like there's like a really loud, just like sniff inhale, and I'm like, did you do a fucking line of coke mid rant?
But yeah, no, it's it's.
But like,
That's why I made the joke.
like-
I was like, after the ad break, I was like, well, welcome back to Pixie Pro Elden Ring stream with Zach, known newbie to Soulsborne games.
just losing his mind.
Because, like, one of the comments was, like, your boyfriend is a pro after 40 hours of Elden Ring, and it's like, no, Zach has been playing forever. If anybody is the newbie,
Yeah. Admit it, like, don't get me wrong, I'm probably still a bit newer than... Well, I don't know. I think I might technically be newer to the Soulsborne
Yeah,
series
'cause
than that,
he's
but I
been-
took a wild-ass
Yeah.
journey through it.
yeah, because what you really didn't really kick in until Bloodborne.
Bloodborne is one that I was like, oh, I would really like this, but it didn't have the system to play.
Oh yeah, Sekiro was your.
Sekiro was my first,
So then-
which is like
So then
a
yeah,
wild
so
place
then yeah,
to start.
so then yeah, Zach has definitely been longer because he's
Yeah.
like a Dark Souls.
In terms of lore, I've been around longer than that, but actually playing the game,
Yeah, 'cause he's
Sekiro
a-
is where I started.
Yeah, because I believe like Dark Souls 1, like I think he's
Yeah.
like a Dark Souls 1 baby, like that's his where he started, and so I believe.
So I think it goes Zach, me,
me,
you, Pixie.
Pixie, yeah. Because she's starting her journey with Elden Ring. I technically started my journey. Well, I played some Elden Ring, but not for the channel. That was for me.
Yeah.
But I never finished it. But I finished Demon Souls remake.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of going even further back because I'm like, while some argue Kingsfield is not, I argue it is, and I will die on that hill.
You will die alone, but you do you, man.
No, that's not true. I'll have Miyazaki with me.
You'll have Miyazaki with.
Because I think even Hill would, I think he would also agree. I think I will die on the hill with the creator.
Yeah. Oh, me and speaking of Miyazaki, me and Sky, he was like, so who do you think is like is a better creator, Hayao Miyazaki or Hidetaka Miyazaki? And I'm like, don't get me wrong, they're both very good creators.
I feel like that's a hard choice to make.
Yeah, I didn't make that choice, but I was like, I explained to Sky the difference. I was like, he's like, oh, between like the two of them and their outlooks on life.
Yeah. If you've seen that clip of I forget which show it is, but it's one of the Dropout shows.
Yeah.
If you've seen there, which Miyazaki said it.
Yeah, and I was explaining to him, I'm like, yeah, Hayao's he's kind of a jerk.
Yeah, one is a optimist who goes into the dark to see the light, and then the other is a nihilist for sure who uses bright colors to trick us
Yeah,
into thinking he's not.
yeah, and he was like, but he makes so many happy movies. I'm like, that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
But he also made Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah,
So, you know.
Grave of the Fireflies. I like Castle in the Sky. That is.
I know, but I'm saying like that's the opposite of the point that Sky made. I was like, but also he's making Grave of the Fireflies, which is like him really taking a journey into like the darkest of humanity, which is a very rare thing for him though. But because usually he's like, here's bright colors and you know, but also, fuck humanity, we're fucked. Whereas, meanwhile, in Soulsborne, it's like, man, humanity's fucked. But in reality, no, here's a really hopeful message hidden deep, deep, deep within everything. Really deep. You gotta dig real deep for it, but it's here. Somewhere. Real deep in there.
You'll suffer, but if you can get through it.
Yeah.
A lot of video essays about... Sorry, this is not...
We are going really off Star Wars.
We're rambling. A lot of like old video essays and even still current ones about how like Soulsborne games kind of like teach you to deal with depression and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
not a 1-to-1 comparison, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah, usually it's that premise that, you know, the really messed up artists are the ones who create the most like light-hearted entertainment to kind of shade that a little bit, so that way they don't really think about it. It's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
But
this is a Star Wars podcast.
Yeah, so Edge of Balance. I think we basically gave it like the highest approvals we could. Like we're telling y'all read these. But yeah, so thank you all for watching today's episode of Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I've been your host, Caleb. Be sure to like, comment, follow, subscribe to us. You can find us at Escape Reality Films on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, TikTok, and Blue Sky. You can also show your support for us by joining our Patreon, which is at Escape Reality Films. Shout out to Jennifer Brantley. Woo! There you can watch our YouTube content before it's publicly available. Also be sure to check out our Discord, which is also linked wherever you're watching, so you become part of our community. Right there. We might be taking a break from movie nights just because Britt is getting really close to her move. Yeah. So we just got to kind of slow everything down.
With work, so
yeah. So we're just going to slow down, I think. I don't know if for sure. I think I canceled next week already. So we'll see. Because I was going to put it there, but because I was going to be like, oh, back to Highlander, but then she mentioned that, so... I think we're going to wait till next month to officially be back on schedule a little bit. Not 100%, but 90% on schedule at that point. Same thing with the D&D games. And then, at least for acquisitions in Ravenloft. For Grim Hollow, it's a play-by-ear.
Yeah.
I think that's it on the Discord stuff. We're probably going to play some Fortnite today, so if you want to hang out, we'll probably do a little bit of that. At least until the D&D game I play in happens, but that one's not a one we promote. Speaking of D&D, though, that we do promote...
Every other Sunday from 5 to 7 Central Standard Time, you can catch some friends of ours over on Trials of Naboo. And I believe it's the Steam Dragon now.
Yes, that's the link. It's still called Steam Dungeon when you get to the page, but it's Steam Dragon for the actual link.
I got no idea what's going on over there.
But yeah, go check them out. Once again, thank you all for watching. Join us next week as we discuss the High Republic Adventures Phase 3, Volume 4. So we're going to keep on with the comics. As well as Free Comic Book Day comics, because Free Comic Book Day... I've spoken.
Y'all be safe out there.